Let's talk about the BBC. How much more of the ongoing shambles of our state broadcaster are we supposed to put up with? Once again today, the Director General of the BEEB, Tim Davie, and the Chairman, Samir Shah, were grilled by MPs on the Culture, Media and Sport Committee. There was lots to talk about. Of course, the Gaza documentary scandal, the disgrace of the Gregg Wallace affair, and of course the Glastonbury Bob Villain debacle, just to name three. On and on and on it goes. You almost want to ask the question, does the BBC actually ever do anything right? It's pathetic. It's pathetic. Here is Tim Davie in his own TV show today in Parliament.
Are you able to assure us today, are you able to give us your categorical assurance that whenever we next have you in front of us, there won't be a scandal of BBC talent abusing their position, which you need to apologise for?
We are seeing people call it out, and that is a positive change, but it's ongoing work. I don't think you can change culture in 6 months and suddenly say nothing's going to occur. We may see more things coming out because in some ways I'm asking for it and being utterly transparent and running towards the problem. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, what he's doing there is he's looking after his own back, isn't he? He's just saying, well, there may be more scandals. It won't be my fault. I'll deal with them. And he's sending a message. This is another kind of pretty pernicious element to the BBC's predicament. Tim Davie there, the Director General, is basically saying to stars, to people who want to go and work for the BBC, chances are you'll get shopped by someone lower down the pecking order on your show or your production, and the BBC will investigate you, and if we find you guilty, your life and your career will be ruined. So I don't see people flocking to work for the BEEB in the future. But, you know, there's very, very little comedy on telly at all today. Certainly no good comedy on the BBC, hasn't been for years. But Isabel, the BBC itself has turned into a sort of sick comedy, isn't it? A sick comedy of errors. Doesn't do anything right. It really is a shambles.
It's kind of depressing because it was such a sort of pivotal part of our national life not that long ago, and I just feel it's so sort of besmirched now and so riven with left-wing politics and all the things that we've discussed so much. And you know, he's trying to make a virtue of, as he puts it, running towards problems. But you know, he would probably say, I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. You know, he would be, I suppose, crucified if, you know, in any way he's seen to have avoided looking under the bonnet. But at the same time, is it a great idea to create a culture of telltales in which everybody thinks that there is an, you know, open market for just coming out with any number of grievances? I mean, there's already an awful lot of that in the BBC. And in the end, you know, viewers are fed up of this. They just want the BBC to do what it's supposed to do, which is make great programmes. We don't want to have to constantly be thinking about and talking about yet another scandal involving their overpaid stars. We just want them to make great viewing. Yeah. And at that point, they could stop being the story. That's what we don't want, the BBC to be the story. And
here's how they won't stop being the story. They've actually set up a specific whistleblowing team where anybody can come and tell tales, which, you know, people will do. So as I say, more and more celebrities will go, I'm not going anywhere near the BBC. It is ruinous. I mean, apart from the three scandals that I mentioned, the shocking Gaza documentary in which the BBC failed to tell viewers that the teenage host, was the son of a Hamas official, the Gregg Wallace affair on MasterChef, him found guilty of a litany of inappropriate behaviour, particularly towards women. John Turode, his co-star, of course, fired for allegedly using the N-word inappropriately. Well, it's always inappropriate, isn't it, that word? So it's all this, and of course the Glastonbury debacle. It's almost as if this organisation, this once proud, fine, you know, bastion of Britishness, it was one of the the emblems of this great nation, wasn't it, the BBC? It's almost as if it's destroying itself. It's folded in on itself, it's eating itself, it's destroying itself. You know, you look at Strictly Come Dancing. I mean, I can't see that lasting too much longer because, you know, never a week goes past without some star being accused of something or other. Tim Davie then launches a massive investigation. 6 people get fired. It happens now on virtually every show. There's barely a show in the BBC that isn't in some kind of trouble because of the whistleblowing department. It's strange, isn't it?
I suppose it's like, you know, the wokest possible imaginable government department. And the irony of this is that this is all happening at the very time when it faces effectively an existential threat, only not because we have to pay the license fee, but it faces an existential threat in terms of whether viewers bother with it, because there's so many other outlets to go to. You know, this is not how most young people consume either their information or entertainment. They're not logging on to the BBC website all the time, or, you know, having a so-called appointment to view programs. They consume their media very, very differently. I have to say I'm very bored of talking about the BBC, but we must continue to do so, because they do not create, they distort the playing field for media organisations such as our own. You know, yeah. Companies like News UK, programmes and stations like Talk have to fight for their survival every single minute of every day. We don't get handouts, and this is why it's so galling that the BBC is able to be so grotesquely dysfunctional and so disproportionate in its staffing of things like Glastonbury and still getting it wrong. And yet they are bankrolled forcibly by the taxpayer. You know, it is an uneven, very unlevel playing field. So we just have to beat them on quality, and that I think we try very hard to do.
And I think we do rather well, because it's not exactly the home of quality these days, certainly when it comes to decent drama or comedy. But of course there's the Hugh Edwards affair as well. Now Hugh Edwards was overpaid by £200,000 after he was arrested for being a paedophile. The BBC said yes, we overpaid him for several months, and we're trying to get that money back. And Hugh Edwards, quite rightly or quite understandably, just keeps turning around and saying, no, I'm not giving it back to you. So why don't they get tough? Why don't they sue him? I mean, you know, they've got no backbone, these people.
That is exactly what they should do. I mean, it's to his shame that he doesn't return that money. But he's obviously, his career is over. I mean, people have come back, I suppose, up to a point.
He's not coming back, Isabel. Don't worry about that.
You know, I really, yeah. So
he's the Gary Glitter of television.
Yeah, it's over for him. It really is over for him. Yeah. So he's obviously grasping at anything that he can hold on to. But of course they should get tough. This is taxpayer money. And personally, I don't want to see a single penny of taxpayers' money being given to support the lifestyle of a convicted paedophile who was damn lucky.
Not to go to jail. Absolutely.
That's where he should have gone.
Absolutely. And you cannot overstate, if you revisit the Hugh Edwards story, the shame and the disgrace brought upon the national broadcaster, the BBC, over his affair. The man who announced to a shocked and compelled nation the death of the Queen turns out to be a paedophile. I mean, right. You know, it really is extraordinary. And from that, an entire kind of cornucopia of trouble seems to have emerged. The BBC, I think, is in a kind of weird death spiral, and we need to stop being forced to pay that licence fee, because it is not delivering value for money in a month of Sundays.